Hello my friend, welcome to this new watercolor tutorial. This tutorial talks about a very powerful three-layer watercolor landscape method that will help you to paint watercolor landscape very effortlessly. So I think this layer technique is very important, and once you understand this, you can paint any kind of watercolor. Well, it's not just limited to watercolor landscape. You can paint any cityscape. You can paint a still life or portrait or whatever it is, right? So let's first start determining. I've already drawn this subject. We have a mountain, and then in a far distance we have these tree, and closer to our eyes there will be these lands. There'll be some trees here, and the pathway, narrow pathways, is basically it's going all the way, more depth here. So this is what it is. Now we also have to select the color. Let's say example, you have you want to use the blue color for far distance subject like a mountain, right? So now first to determine the color. So here I have this ultramarine blue, and then I'll be using into this painting a very slightly use of far distance objects like yellow ochre. So this is my color scheme. I'm going to use it into this, and now when I'm just coming up a little more further, I wanted to get things a little more obvious. So I want to use, let's say I want to use this burnt sienna and adding a little bit of yellow ochre. Okay, a little more burnt sienna. But when your subject is coming a little more nearer to your eyes, I also want to use a little bit of green, and I'll be using this green, but it shouldn't be exact green. I'm adding burnt sienna and green together, and I wanted to make this color almost like an olive green. Now this is important when we have this one. Okay, so this has become your primary of these color scheme in your painting, right? So what we'll do is we also see the variation, like it's getting merged here, it's getting merged here, and when we coming to all the way down, it basically all it's getting merged here like this. Now this is your color scheme, right? Yes, you're starting with a far distance object, and this is how we can just bring that the variation into your painting. The moment you're coming all the way here, so this particular area will go all the way in this layer. This area will go, this particular shade will go this line, and this is basically is going all the way this side, and possibly this section as well. But the important part is you see here the variation, the shades comes here. This is also incredibly important. This is your first layer, and watercolor works from light to depth, right? Light to darker shades, right? Whereas the other medium works like an oil, it's from dark to light, right? But this medium, and that's the beauty of this watercolor medium. So now you have, I'm just taking this color, you will have, when you make the second layer, so what happens is you need to make the shade of this color, like you have it, and now it is going little darker here, right? And this, assume that this is going to be your second layer. Now you see the difference, the lighter and the darker side of this. But when you go for a third layer, this becomes even more darker. So I'm adding a little burnt sienna, and I'm just making this. Now see this, the light and little darker, and this is the core understanding of your layering system, right? So this becomes your first, second, and third. This is how it is. Now you also see when we work on this part, we have yellow, right? We have a yellow, and now I'm just adding a little burnt sienna and making a lighter shade of this, maybe even more lighter. I'm just mopping the extra water, and then we can go for third layer with a little bit of use of this 3 color, make it a little more darker. Now see this, right? Now this becomes your second and third, right? And along with that, you also will have some complementary shades. These all are your complementary shades. Maybe this one, this one, this one, this one. These all become your complementary shade. Maybe lighter pigments, right? And maybe these are the complementary shades. Little lighter, wherever it is possible. I'm just adding a little more color right from here. This is important for you to bring variation into your painting, right? So this is your the shades. Now let's go to this one, the dark one here, when objects are very near to our eyes. So I'm using this ultramarine burnt sienna and adding a little bit of sap green and a little bit of ultramarine blue, and making this as a little darker, maybe a little more, little lighter. Now I'm adding this 2 color, sap green and burnt sienna, to make things a little more darker. Now you see here the dark pigment. Meanwhile, you'll also have some shade here, and that becomes automatically, it becomes right when you paint this shades, right? These are the complementary shades, okay? But your primary shades are this, this, and this. So you have first layer, second layer, and third layer. Now what happens is, in most of the time, if you wanted to bring some variation in your painting, like some use of other color, like this red, right? So that also can be part of this, starting right from here, this side, and it goes all the way here, like the darker pigments here into this, and this is the lighter shade. You can use some other color, like if I want to use the orange, So the lighter, and then you have the darker pigment. Okay, so this is how basically, but when we are going to use it, this is going to be used if you wanted to add this color maybe somewhere here, or maybe some seed from this side will be here, some seed, but we are not using very in a large level. There's some sort of shades to bring variation, otherwise you'll have only this 2 3 color, right? But you wanted to look your painting a little colorful, so you need to pick some color from here, this shades. Now you'll have to decide whether I need to go for this color, or you wanted to use some other color. It's completely up to you. Now let's work on how basically it works, how to apply this entire, you know, your color scheme into your actual painting. So before we start, I'm offering you this particular watercolor lesson to paint loose watercolor. It's a very incredible simple for you to understand. This particular lesson I've created specifically for beginners and intermediate learners who want to paint watercolor, loose watercolor. So this is completely free for you. You can find the link in the video description, and and I'm sure that you'll enjoy this tutorial. So now let's move ahead. So what I want to do is, in my first layer, I want to use, let me just take out this entire color here first. All right, so I want to use this ultramarine blue, which is very lighter pigment. I want to use this as my first layer, right? So I'm not going to work on the sky. So I'm using this particular color, and I'm just adding a very little ultra burnt sienna, because I wanted to reduce its pigment. I want even more lighter pigment of this. So this is your first layer of this mountain. So now imagine that you have painted this particular shade here into this, right? And now when I'm just coming to down one, I want to use this particular shade, which is yellow ochre, and yellow ochre, and I'm just taking very little burnt sienna, very little burnt sienna. I'm adding a little water into it, and I'll just apply it here. Still it's very dark, so I want to make it a little more lighter here into this, and I'll just leave white for pathway, right, like this. Now when I'm just coming all the way, my eyes is little closer, so I'm using particularly this shade somewhere. So I'm using a little more water and burnt sienna, adding a very little ultramarine blue, and I'm just applying it here. Okay, I'll add a little more water into it, and I'm just applying it a little darker shade here. Now when you are applying color, the shades possibly from here, the nearer to your eyes. So I'll just come back, I'll come to this particular shade, which we have a sap green and burnt sienna. So I have this shade, and now I'll just apply gently here like this. Like this. Possibly some, it's a narrow path here, so I'll just make it. So now you got that point right here, what I'm just trying to say. Okay, now this is your very first layer. You have applied from here, you applied this one from here, and the third, the bottom part is basically you have applied it from here. Let it dry. Do not work until it's not completely dry. So now you see our first layer is dried. So we have completed this particular section, right? Now we have to go for the second layer, which is this. Now we will start working on the trees which is very far distance. So what we will pick? We will pick this particular color. And how we will make? We will take yellow Bunsiana and yellow ochre. I'll add a little water, and I'll also add a very little ultramarine blue. So we got that color, and now what we'll do is we'll just make this as a, I'll just mop out the extra water from this. I'll just make these tree which is very far in distance. I will also use this shade which is ultramarine blue to depict its depth. So I'll use this. Here all the way. These are the trees in a far distance, and we have the light which is coming from this side. Let's say the light is coming from this side, so the shade will go. This is very important to make shade of this. Okay, I'm very making it things in a very random way for you to understand this. You can also join my art community. The link is also there in the description. You can join there. You can work with many other fellow artists who's learning from there. It's free to join my community, but if you wanted to join and learn watercolor in a greater level, and I would request you to check that my Patreon. All right, so now see, I have got this shades here, which is a very far distance on this. Now come little near. So when you come in, your trees are pretty near to your eyes. That point of time, I'll be using a little darker pigments, possibly from here. So what I'll do is I'll take Bunsiana, yellow ochre, and this is too big, too dark, so I'll just add a little water into it. And now I will just mop the water, extra water, and I'll just make this as a these trees which is pretty near to our eyes, and maybe one tree here which is even more closer to our eyes, and their shades and the shade of these tree. Right now I've also spoken about the complementary shades here, right? Perhaps possibly you can add something from here to make things a little darker pigment and looks more realistic. But when objects are too far, you don't need to paint everything very dark. The lighter shade stick with, because you are doing the second layer. Don't put this thing all over the place. Okay, now I'm just sticking with the same color scheme. I want to make this a little more, possibly this one, this tree, and we have one other tree here, this one, and I'm just adding a very little darker pigment here and for the shades. Okay, now did you understand the second layer? When we are doing this, we are using the lighter pigment from here, then we are also doing this, but we are just sticking with this line. We are not going to this, we haven't arrived yet. Okay, but I'll tell you, how to come forward. Now I will, since we are doing this second layer, I'll use this some shade here and there for, and since it is a muddy road or something like that, so I'm just using a very kind of a texture, and I've also given a link for you if you are looking for the color to buy or the other supplies. I've just given you the list of that, so check that out. Okay, so now when I'm just here, I want to use this. I'm seeing the things a little closer, so I want to use Bunsiana and sap green. Now we got this pigment of this, and this is the time when we can apply this shades here. Now you got it right, how things are coming. I just wanted to make things a little more, very layman perspective for you to understand this. Maybe there is a big tree here in this section which is overlapping this entire thing basically. Okay, there's a this particular tree is very closer to your eyes, and that's the reason I'm just wanted to use this little darker pigment here. Hope you're able to follow me what I'm just trying to bring for you. And now possibly we will have some fencing and etc stuff. All right, so now this is fine. Now you see, this is what becomes your second layer, and once this get dry, we will see how we can apply this third layer. Now our second layer is dried, and this layer we will conclude this painting. So again, when I'm just here, I'm just trying to do something, some depth. So I just wanted to bring this color, so I'm just mixing burnt sienna and ultramarine blue or a little bit of yellow ochre to make things a little darker. And I'll just touch up here and there, here and there. So this becomes something here. Okay, and now when I'm working on this particular seed, I'm using yellow ochre and sap green mixing with burnt sienna, adding a little water into it, and I'm just trying to make things a little darker, possibly this. And now we got this depth, and we just try to make things a little more darker pigment. Here, and we have a lot of depth here into this section. This section where we have a lot of seeds, etc., which is basically coming here all the way. And now see things how these things are coming here, and now we have this, some shade here and there to make things a little more darker pigments here and there, but not much. That's enough. Now possibly we'll add one person here. That's I'm talking about the complementary color here. Possibly one person here or a couple of people. They're just walking on the street, and not a street, but it's a pathway. Maybe they're just walking a long walk with their friend, or maybe with their pet. And since the light is coming from this side, so we'll have a shade like this, and we can just add a little objects like these branches, etc. Want you can make a little bigger to make things a little more proportionate. You can do a lot many things basically. So this is what actually I wanted to communicate. This is how you can bring the layers, the third layer, the 3-layer concept in your painting. It works wonder. It does wonder to any kind of a painting you're making, right? So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I want you to check my offer. You can I'm just offering you to paint a loose watercolor, and you can get this absolutely free. The link I've given in my video description. You can also become a free member in my watercolor art community. A lot of people are basically getting benefited, and they're collaborating, they're making a connection, they're sharing their artwork, and there's a lot of activities happen in my art forum. So you can join there and get inspired. You can learn from them. You can also inspire someone else in the forum, and that's a great way to learn and improve. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be coming with a new video very soon. Till then, take care, enjoy.